town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe trying to protect your soul.
Fold it up, we gon' burn it down.
I want to put this thing on because this will allow me to just pull the lever and pull the tension off the belt that goes to the blower whenever I throw the 56 deck on, instead of having to put that belt on and off, which is a real pain in the butt. But there are no videos anywhere online of how to put this thing on and off, and the instructions, as is the case with any walker instructions, are a nightmare. It doesn't really show you how to do what. So what I did was I downloaded a whole bunch of pictures of what they look like when they're on, and I'm going to go off those pictures to put this thing on and make a video so that people in the future will know how to assemble and put on this kit. But here, check out these pictures while I'm backing into Roscoe's here, and you'll see what it's supposed to look like when it's on. You there, boy? Is it Christmas? All right, so this is the mower that we'll be working on today, the MT. Here is the kit. These are all the parts that come in the kit. Not very much to it at all. These are the instructions they give, and it kind of shows a little bit in here like where each piece goes, but it's really hard to understand. And then it shows the breakdown of all the parts. But as you guys have seen by this point in the video, the pictures I downloaded from the internet of people that have already installed one of these. So just off of those pictures, I should be able to get this thing mounted no problem. Okay, so the first piece is this bar here, and it goes, well, you can see, but there's the dipstick there, this yellow dipstick. The hook part goes around that. I don't know how I can really get you guys down in here to see it, but the hook part goes around that, and the bolt that goes through the brake band there has to come out and come through the center of this thing. And what it does is pretty much just a guide, where this end of it right here sits over top of this belt right here, which runs over to this pulley that turns your blower. So we just got to pull out that one bolt down there, slide this hook loop end here around the dipstick, and then run that bolt back down through here and back down into where that brake band is, right down there. Okay, so you can kind of see, I'm trying to show you guys this, you can kind of see that bracket. It's right there with the bolt going through it. You can see the loop end goes around the bottom of the dipstick, and the bolt goes right in, back through where the brake band was. Now looking down on this side, if I can show you this, this is the other end of it, and it just goes over top of this belt as a guide. So when you release the pressure of the belt on the other side, it doesn't allow this belt to pop off of this pulley right here. So that's pretty much all it does. Okay, it just sits down in there, you know, right here. So that's that part, and that's pretty easy enough, and everything else now will be over here on this side. Now looking back at this picture, the top part here where the mount is has to go right here. There's a tab, and underneath this harness there should be a bolt under there. So I'm going to have to get this harness moved out of the way so I can get access to that bolt and take it out of there and run the new bolt in if need be that comes with the kit. It's looking like I'm gonna have to pull right here. There's a clamp, and right there there's a clamp that holds this harness in place. If I loosen them up, I should be able to pull this whole thing up and out of the way. Well, that's probably not going to happen because those clamps are held in there with rivets. So we will see Yeah, I definitely have to get that harness out of the way, otherwise I'm not going to be able to get down to that cross arm right there where the bolt has to go through. So looks like I am probably just going to be drilling out those rivets to take those clamps off of there to move that harness out of the way, and then I'll figure out after that. Either I'll just try to rivet them back in there or I'll zip tie them or something, but either way we gotta get that out of the way. Okay, so there was an L bracket that sat on here with the bolt that goes down through, and it goes right through this frame rail, and it was a nut on the bottom. Well, that bolt's been in there so long it broke off and left this little piece in the bottom. I had to use vice grips and unscrew it from the bottom and take the nut off the bottom part. But the new mount comes with a new bolt that goes, or the kit comes with a bolt that goes through there. So let's get this frame rail cleaned up right here, and then I'll get that piece on there. Okay, now this bracket here goes on just like this. The bolt, I'm trying to keep my big mitts out of the way so you guys can see it, but the bolt goes down through there like that, and if I can get it to feed down through the bottom there, it goes straight in like that, and then this piece will sit in there just like that. So now I have to, I thought for sure that bolt would just fall right down through there because there was a nut on the bottom, so I figured it was open all the way through, but I'm starting to think that maybe there are threads in there, which actually that would make sense because those threads that were in there, I had to screw that piece out from the bottom. So we're just going to screw this sucker down in there, right through those threads. And since it is threaded, I don't know why there was a nut on the bottom of there, but either way, we're going to just tighten it up like this, and then I'll put a nut on the bottom of it anyway, just because there was one on there, and I'll keep it the same just for that extra support, I guess. Okay, now you guys see that part? Remember that bracket I told you went down in that side there? Well, underneath, right where I run that bolt down through, you can see that bolt right there. Underneath the bracket, before I put the bolt in, I was supposed to put this spacer in that comes in the kit, which will hold that up a little higher. Right now that thing is sitting on the belt, which I didn't think at first that that seemed right, but like I said, I'm going off of pictures here. So I'm going to pull that bolt back out of there, put this spacer underneath there, and put the bolt back in. Okay, so I don't know if you guys can see now, it definitely it sits higher. It has that spacer in there, and it sits better on that belt right there, a little bit above the belt, so it'll definitely do a better job. This is the standard bolt that was in there. It comes with a new bolt that's longer in the kit, and you replace that bolt with a new bolt there. All right, so now that piece is in there. So these here, where there were rivets holding this wiring harness on, I put self-tappers in there, which will hold it perfectly fine. But if I ever have to take this off again, I won't have to go back through drilling out rivets again to get this off there. Okay, so now you see this right here is the bracket that goes to the tension pulley. It goes upward. I don't know, well, you can see it goes upward at an angle. You can see the arm of it go right up through there, and it goes up to the tension pulley. There's a hole in the arm right up there that you have to bolt this bracket to. So this bracket will actually go up under, and it bolts to it just like that. And then the rod comes off this end right here with these holes and goes straight up through to that piece we just put in. Like you can see here, that's the bolt that came down through that bracket up top. I still got to put a nut on the bottom half of that, but that's that bolt. So the rod will go straight up through. I'll try to show you guys this the best that I can. I can't guarantee anything. It's so difficult in here with the way everything is in here. It really makes it a pain in the butt.
Yeah, that's really packed in there.
But what we'll do is put this up under, like this. And this bolt goes through the bracket and then through right through there like that. And then the nut goes on the other side, which is going to be pretty difficult to get to. Okay, I don't know, well, you guys can see that I'm looking in the back of the camera and it's looking like I'm having more of a hard time seeing that, so I don't know how clear it'll be for you guys. But here's the bottom of the bracket. It goes up under, and there's a bolt that runs straight up through there. I don't know if you can see it, but that's the bolt right there. Okay, the nut's right there, and it runs straight through to the other side there, right there. And now that's on, and now we run the rod down through the top. Okay, so you take the nut that comes with it, and you screw it on. So screw on. Screw it onto this rod here. This is going to be what's called a set nut. So you screw that on. I thought I heard you laughing over there. You screw that on, and then you screw this into this piece here. Wow, that's really tight.
Do you need a hand over there? I know I'm the better mechanic of it too.
You are the better mechanic. I might need you for this. Do you need my assistance, Farv? Do you need my assistance? Wow, this goes in really tight. It's tight like a tiger. So you screw this piece onto here. That was a stupid mistake. I shouldn't have done that first. Because what you need to do is, if I can get this thing off here. What you need to do is this bracket right here that I put in, this piece has to go down through there first, and then you screw this on the bottom. Looks to me like you got to put that down through there first, and then screw that set nut on, and then put it all down through there. So let me do that the right way first. Okay, so now that's down through there. Now you screw this set nut onto there so that it's in place, and then screw this onto here to get that set, and then this hooks onto this piece down here. Now, from as far as I can see, they want it to go into the bottom hole there, but even with this thing all the way down, I don't think I'm going to hit that bottom hole. Like, it's going to take darn near almost everything it has there just to hit the top hole. So I don't know, if I screw it all the way down the bottom hole enough that goes in there, that won't reach without me pulling the tension right off it before I even pull this lever up to disengage. So I don't know, that's quite a stretch right off the bat. So even if I just screw this in a couple threads, it's already going to be, actually, I think this whole thing goes down through there more, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, now you can see it's hanging down plenty far enough to screw this thing on there. What has to happen is this has to be able to drop all the way down, and it wasn't dropping all the way down. It's getting hung up right there, which it still is a little bit. And what you do is you pull this up and move it over onto that thinner part, and it holds tension to hold it down. That would be disengaged, and then you move it over and then let this drop straight down through, and then that allows the tension to stay on the pulley, and you're good to go. But there was, because the way this was painted or undercoated, this bigger opening of the latch right there was not allowing this lever to go down through. So now let's get this piece screwed onto here. We will get it set to where we need it to be. It just has to be able to go into that hole there. So what we'll do, we'll put this pin through here that comes with it, and the cotter pin that goes in there, and then the cotter pin will just get bent around. But what I want to do first is get this thing screwed on there snug to where it's supposed to be, so it holds tension without lifting that thing up. And then I'm screwing it from the top in case you can't tell. I'm just screwing this thing in here, and once I get it to where I want it to be, get it screwed into where I think will be a good height, it'll make it easy to engage and disengage, and then screw this down up against it there. So I don't know if this is the same size that other one was. The other one was a 7/16. Yep, it's the same size. So then I'm just going to snug this up against that piece there, so then this can't screw out of there, it can't back off, and it'll stay right where I want it to stay. And then you can bend this cotter pin around. I might have to get a pair of needle nose. It's just a little cotter pin, but I can't get it to stay still long enough that I can bend those pieces over. So I'll bend that over, and then we'll be good to go. And then what it does, if you guys can see that in there, I'll lift it up from up top to disengage it. Okay, so right now that's in there. When I pull up on this lever from up top, and I just disengage that belt. So you can't really see it, but that belt is loose on there, and that's all it does. It lifts this up and pulls the other side down, and this is what it looks like up top. It just pulls it up and slides in there, and then when you want to put it back to where you're using the blower, you just pull this over, push that back down, and it let the pulley back down to put tension back on that belt. Now you can't see it that well, but that's it. So a little bit of work, a little bit of finagling, but got it in there, and it'll make it a lot simpler now. Now when I switch to the 56 deck, I don't have to worry about getting under there and taking that belt on and off. Now it'll come on and off easy. Like I said before, there's no videos on this and how to install, so I really hope this helps. I tried to get you the best angles that I could, so I really hope this did the job, and this will help anyone trying to do this project. I did mention yesterday's video about those lawns and buying lawns. A lot of great advice. You guys put a lot of great input in there. Thank you very much for that. That's my goal. That's what I wanted, so that other people coming on the channel that's never experienced that before could get that information. I guess it didn't clarify totally. I don't need those lawns. I was getting them more for Ryan, and then if there was one here or there that were right next to ones I already do, then I would take those on. But overall, I really didn't need them. I'm kind of maxed out. I was maxed out throughout the summer, and then in the last 4 weeks, I just took on 7 new lawns to start next year. 4 of them are over an acre apiece, so I really didn't need the lawns. I just wanted everybody's input on that whole process of doing it like that. You know, I don't need to buy lawns off anybody. I guess I'm lucky, I'm fortunate enough that my phone rings constantly, and it's always been that way. Pretty much since after the first year of me being in business, I really set a good name for myself, and I strive to keep that up. Now, for example, last spring, I gave away 37 lawns that had called me in the beginning of spring that all wanted lawn service, new lawns, that I just couldn't take. So I gave those away, and that was all within a month. So I think 90% of them I gave to Ryan, actually. So the bulk of those I was going to take for Ryan. So I don't know. We'll see how that pans out. But a lot of great advice on that, and thank you guys for putting in your input on that, and you know, advice on how you do it or what you've done.